It's time to step into the Coming Out Lounge, a cool, safe space to be true to your sexual self. With your host, Rick Clemens. Rick has helped hundreds of people come out of the closet, and now each week he's bringing you cool insights for loving and accepting yourself, boosting your self-confidence, and living a guilt-free, purpose-filled life on the other side of the closet doors. Cuddle up with yourself and get ready for heartwarming coming out stories, ideas for living authentically, and tips for being fully self-expressed. Now here's your host, Coming Out Coach Rick.
Hey, closet dwellers and closet busters. It's time once again for the Coming Out Lounge. Yes, this is one of the last few times you'll be hearing that because you know we're changing the name of the podcast to Life Uncloseted. I'm so excited to have my guests here today because, you know, coming out, it can be such a challenge, but it also can be one hell of a celebration. And when I talk about celebration, it's something that makes you want to dance. But for many of us, the moment we come out, we find ourselves just simply trying to fit in. And sometimes that fitting in can be fitting into our own community. It can cause us to go hit the bars and hang out at clubs. And before we know it, we find ourselves really feeling alone and oftentimes in those deep depths of depression and despair. But now I want you to erase all those negative thoughts. I want you just for a moment to think about finding a really safe, inclusive space to celebrate you, one that totally brings your spirituality, your dance, your positive vibe of who you are in the LGBT community together. Now, while it may seem rare that you could find something like that, I want you to know that there's a whole new burst of energy showing up in the world. It's a hip vibe known as Faith Lift Party. Yes, Faith Lift Party. It's produced by Christopher Logan and Sam Coffie. And I got to tell you, you got to get your dancing shoes on. You got to step into your spiritual self and you got to open your hearts, your minds, and lift your faith and rejoice that this party is coming to you today from the Coming Out Lounge. And I'm going to bring these guys on because they got something really cool they're going to share with you as we step in to Faith Lift Party with Christopher and Sam. Welcome to the Coming Out Lounge, guys.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Thank you so much.
Totally, you bet. So let's just dive right in and explain what Faith Lift Party is. Christopher, why don't you kind of start, and then Sam, you fill in the gaps.
Well, the Faith Lift Party started a few months ago. I'd say probably about 6 or 7 months ago, but really it's kind of really started within me a lot longer than that. I'm a professional photographer full-time, but a lot of my time, something's been really drawn to me, whether it's spirit or something that's been telling me to do something spiritual. And for a long time, I didn't really know what that was, but it really spoke to me. And a few months ago, I went to, now it might have been about a year or so ago, I went to Winter Music Conference in Miami. One of my friends, Bill Kelly, is the founder of that. Mm-hmm. And I went down there, and I grew up in South Beach, and I've been to Winter Music Conference many times. I grew up going there. But this time was a lot different. I've been DJing for a while now, and I just had a lot of clarity, just an open slate, and was just being really present throughout the entire time. And right before Winter Music Conference ended, I went to a party that Barbara Tucker threw. And Barbara Tucker is a singer. She produces a lot of great music, and she has parties, and she's just a real foundation specifically in like gospel house and house music. Yep. I went to her event, and I went with Bill, but I kind of just stood back by myself and just took it all in. I was really just floored about the energy and just the positive vibes, and I just felt so fulfilled. And leaving that, number one, felt lifted, and I just had a lot of clarity. And heading back to Brooklyn where I live, it really came to me with the idea of Faith Lift. And the name from Faith Lift is actually one of my ministers. I go to a Unity Church, and her name is Elizabeth Longo. And now she is a minister at Unity of Fort Lauderdale. And she gave, a really awesome sermon message called Faith Lift. And the name stuck, but the message also stuck. And I thought, I'm on the plane. I felt like the ingredients to the recipe was coming together. Mm-hmm. The name, the meaning. I felt like they're, with our community, with the LGBTQ, and especially our allies, I just felt like that's kind of a void almost, and even a concept like this. And I felt like, I was supposed to be doing this. I didn't really know quite sure what to do. I'm really big about setting goals and everything. So I just, got some poster boards, some markers. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And yeah, I pitched it to a couple venues, and there's one venue in particular called Come On Everybody in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And they were like, we can't wait for you to come in. And we've just been building it ever since. I mean, Sam, do you want to chime in and kind of?
Yes, that sounds great. So I've known Chris for a while, and even through my journey and just spiritual guidance and things such as that, just growing, when he came to me and said, I've been, I guess in a sense, convicted that I need to do something that is spiritually focused, at the same time uplift and also bring together a community, not just, as he said, LGBTQ, also our allies. And also, he's a great DJ, and he loves house, and he loves, Motown and soul and funk and all the things that I love. So once he said, would you like to come in and DJ with me? There was no hesitation but to say yes. I've grown up, with music all my life. I've grown up with a very religious background as well. So all of that just encompasses just how everything just came together. Like you said, the ingredients of the recipe, where I just thought that this was just the most amazing concept to be a part of. And in a sense, I felt like it was our way as a ministry of music to reach someone and to, again, uplift and to build confidence, as also build a community or build a stronger community. And I think sometimes, even when we can't do it through words, we can do it through song and dance. And I felt like that was just a great avenue for us. Thus, Faithless Party is born and still going strong.
Here's what I heard I heard a lot of good things, but what I just heard was, Christopher, you brought up the word void. And I think music is one of the things that truly does fill voids in our lives when we're feeling, most, challenged or depressed or lost or whatever. But what I also paralleled that with was, as Sam was talking, was the ministry of music. It helps us build a stronger community. I think as gay men, all three of us would agree that one of the things that seems to draw us into our community is this brotherhood and sisterhood of music that has always served as kind of a beacon of possibility and triumph. And what I think is so powerful is you guys are now taking what most people would say, well, yeah, I go to the bars to drown my sorrows and dance where I can feel free. And yes, years ago, that's what the bars truly signified, it was a safe place. But what you guys are doing is putting the new twist on this of music can be the place where we celebrate, where we can bring ourselves together. We can step into our spiritual selves, not just in our community, but we bring our allies in. So, Christopher, this question's for you since you used the word void. Obviously, when you felt fulfilled in clarity from this sermon and everything, and throughout life, there's been some void, it sounds like, that needed to be filled for you. What is this doing now for you? What's the void that's getting filled by you being able to bring Faithless Party to life?
One thing, that kind of really resonates with me, I moved there when, I think I may have just turned 20, and I basically grew up in South Beach and nightlife in South Beach when it was, really popping. It's just, it was just really bonkers. And especially in gay, queer nightlife, you see everything, and I'm seeing really great things and I'm seeing really dark things, even here in New York. I think seeing that as a foundation of what nightlife, or, we've been doing these parties also during the daytime, just trying to seeing what that was and what that meant. I wanted to have a different outlet, for not having an alternative for, our brothers and sisters to, really rejoice and, have an alternative, that's really open. And I'm extremely grateful for the support of our friends, and also that, people, on social media, we've had so many people reaching out from us all over the world, just expressing so much gratitude. Wow, work at, we're just, I feel like we're all doing something really different, and people are really drawn to it. And it comes from such a genuine place, just wanting not just to help out, but I just felt like it's needed, it's just not there, and I'm thrilled that Sam and I are doing this and almost, pioneers, if you will, to really make a difference.
Well, it's kind of similar to, the whole Christian rock music genre that just kind of blossomed in the last 20 years, where it became really hip and accepted to be in that genre. And, there'll be times when I'm traveling and, especially when I'm driving a car through places I haven't driven, and I'm trying to find a damn radio station that I can hear something. Well, that's a cool vibe, and then I'll be halfway through the song before I'm like, oh, this is like a Christian rock band, So I think it's really amazing that stuff happens. Sam, you brought up the point of the ministry of music and that you grew up with music and religion. So what is one of the things that really helped you as a gay man stay true to your ability to bring that music and religion into your life? Because it sounds like it's actually helped you continue to just be totally who you are. And I know I'm making an assumption there, but I just kind of heard something in your voice that the music is kind of what helps you stay in your faith and moving forward, believing there's something more than just who you are.
That was a great assumption. So one thing that, I can say give homage to is like Sylvester. And I had a really good friend. They had the play called Sylvester Fabulous One More Time. And it was funny because I was listening to his story and how Sylvester also, he grew up in church and everything, and then how disco started and how he would take the things that he learned from church, different riffs, the different, the organ chords and just the different hymns, and he would just change those into an upbeat and just add dance to that. And it was funny because now, me knowing that now, in my 30s, when I was growing up and being younger, I didn't really know or have that idea or that point of reference. And then now I have that point of reference, and knowing that just with music, it's just been so strong. Like my mother, she was singing since I was in her belly. And so I think that I learned just the sound of melody, just, I guess, in a sense of underwater, and everything sounds beautiful as an echo. And then as I was born and growing up in church, and my mother was singing in choir, I was really convicted also of music. And I think there was always something, of course, me growing up, knowing as I was a gay child, growing up as a gay man, I knew there was something different, but also I still was very spiritually grounded because that's how I grew up. And that's where things just went forward. And I was like really much more into music. I've, worked in, also done some house tracks. I've released some songs under my name. I've definitely dealt with houses. For example, I take it to Sylvester, but I also take it to Jamie Principle, where he was very much the same type when I saw a documentary on him. And as I just started growing up, I say, how can I build this? How can I take this forward also within me? It just really touches me in a sense. Like there's just something about the way when someone just plucks a string on a guitar or just hits one chord or just, hits a key on the piano, that it just touches you in a way that it takes you to a whole nother state or, a sense of being that's euphoric,
right,
or, spiritual. And I think that way where I say, how can I reach people? How can I reach them with music? And how is it that I can be myself, continue to be myself, for people to know who I am, and also to make people smile. And that's just through music, and that's my ministry now,
Awesome.
And I'm feeling very strongly about that. So now it's making me want to, it's like a muscle. The ministry is like a muscle, and you want to make it stronger, and you keep practicing, and you keep searching, and keep researching, and you talk to friends, and you see people who are smiling, and it just makes you go harder, And I think that's just how I'm able to encompass, one, the ministry of music, two, me being who I am and bringing it to a community, and also the allies of the community, and three, just spreading it out to the world.
Awesome. So you brought this up. You said that, as a young gay man growing up, music was really powerful for you in your journey. So I'm curious, what stage of life did you actually come out?
You know what? It was actually a little later, of course. I was in my 20s. I grew up in a family. I was very funny because I grew up with an American-born mother, but I also grew up with a West African-born father. So
that in itself, you just kind of painted the challenge picture right there. So
exactly. So in both spectrums, they were both, my mother grew up in a very religious, I guess, regimen, so to speak. And so did my father. And, so just growing up, but I always knew that there was something different. And I just said, there's something different about me. I can't really speak on what it is at the moment, But I think for me at the age of 5, it's kind of like what I knew. It's really strange to say, but I knew at the age of 5 for me, when I actually came out, it was, oh my God, it was the day after my mother's second wedding.
Wow.
And it was the day after. And the thing is, me and my mom are really close, but I just know from my experience, also, I say within the POC, in parentheses, people of color community, sometimes that is a very, 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 very touchy subject just within those families in general.
Oh, absolutely.
And usually, just from history and historical things, mothers are very much the center focus, and you never want to hurt moms. And sometimes you really do say, oh, what is this going to do? Oh, what is this? How is she going to feel? Am I affecting her? But then there was something about me that said, I can't deny who I am as a person.
Absolutely.
And that should continue to hurt her by not letting her see who I am as a person.
Yeah.
She's going to have to see it in order for us to both move forward.
What kind of music carried you through this? What was
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so it's funny because there was I would say classic R&B jazz of Anita Baker. There was Aretha Franklin. There was, house music where I grew up in Chicago. So, there's your Frankie Knuckles. There's your, Jamie Principle, who I keep referencing, who I love. There was a group called The It, Mr. Finger. There were all of them, that it was just something about that always just touched me, because when I listened to those songs, they also pulled a lot of reference from gospel music.
Right.
They really rejoiced also in that. And then they just found a way to also bring it to, quote unquote, the club, or where house music, the term came from, where there was a club called The Warehouse. And It came down to be called house music. So, a lot of, their culture and what they grew up with, I didn't feel alone in a sense.
Yep.
There were people that were also there, and I didn't feel alone, and it really helped me because I was like, they understood, they knew what I liked, they knew the music I liked, and there were people like Anita Baker and, Aretha, and then, of course, Taylor Bell and Diana Ross, and, just some of, the greats that, it was me singing. The
greats that have a way of just reaching down inside you and just tickling your soul. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. So Christopher, I'm curious. I'm Christopher. Yeah. I'm curious about you, man. What kind of music was it that kind of helped you come through those closet doors?
I grew up in Virginia until I was 18, actually in Charlottesville. So it's interesting. When I was growing up in my teens, number one, I knew I was gay. But one thing, I think we lived in such a rural area at the time. It sounds kind of funny, but we still, watch Dance Party USA and all these kind of early dance shows and stuff. And I loved, Black Box, D-Light, I'm obsessed with freestyle music. That's one of my favorite genres, house, freestyle. I love just really good, fun music. But also, Brandy, just we were talking earlier now, Taylor Bell and Aretha Franklin and stuff. But I think especially when that specific period of dance music with CC Music Factory and stuff. And I love Martha Wash. And for some reason, I would hear these songs, I'm almost I'm relating to this, and I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah.
Especially, George Michael and Culture Club and stuff. I don't know, it just kind of felt right, and I felt like I was supposed to be a part of it.
Right.
So it was really an escape for me, because especially in Virginia at that time, I wasn't out at the time, and it was very, kind of good boy country. It's very quite different than it is today. Music was a true escape for me because I wasn't out. There was one gay club in Charlottesville at the time, and it was a private membership club, and it was, I don't know, I would go there and I just didn't feel right. I don't know, just something was not right. And music was my escape for me because I was really lonely at the time. Even though I was really popular in school and I had so many friends, I was really content on that end. But inside, I was really lonely because I just felt really isolated. I didn't feel like there were any other, out people.
Right. I think music is one of those things that when we are in those places of loneliness, it's the one connection piece. In fact, I just interviewed Tony Moran not long ago, and he and I were talking about very similar stuff. And he said, the beauty of music is you can be totally alone. You can be in your darkest place. But the one thing music does is, it connects you to other people, because somebody else clear across the world is feeling the same or similar things that you're feeling when they hear this song. And it's the music that connects us in so many different ways across the globe, much like anything in film and creativity and art and stuff. But there's something about music that's so powerful that creates connections and brings us all together in unique and different ways. So I think it's powerful what you guys are doing, because I think the piece that is missing, and I'm going to speak from my own personal experience here, is when I was coming through the closet doors, I had already left my faith and was having a real struggle with, okay, is this really, if I'm really not supposed to be this, and this isn't who I'm supposed to be, then God, get rid of me. Take me out, because this is stupid that I'm going to be allowed to live on this earth and this planet if it's not who I'm supposed to be. And then suddenly the universe and God delivered spirituality into my lap. And I started feeling things completely different, because I'm like, wait, I can actually be this person, and I can still have belief systems, and I can be this. And I also can still be a dad and a gay man, and I could be somebody who can fall in love with another man. And none of that other stuff really changes. There's pieces of the faith-based stuff that changed, but the rest of it kind of aligned. And then I realized, and I don't have to necessarily be practicing a particular faith. I can be a very spiritual guy. And then that's when the doors opened and I started yoga and meditation and exploring religion. It was because of music that much of that started to happen. And that was at the time that Cher's Believe album was out. And that was like my rally cry album. It's like, okay, I would listen to that every chance I got, just to kind of get through each and every day of knowing that, I just got to believe. I got to believe in myself. So what's the next challenges for you guys? I mean, what's the next steps you're taking? And either one of you can take the question, but what's the next big thing for Faith Lift Party?
We got a couple of days on the platter that we're really excited about taking Faith Lift Party to different cities, not just here in the States, but also global. And the people have really kind of expressed some interest in that, and just really excited about the direction where it's going. I mean, it's great gaining a lot of momentum online, not just on SoundCloud, but also with social media and stuff like that. I think where Faith Lift Party is going, I'm open arms right now. I'm just really excited that, number one, that I'm excited that not only has it grown, but that it's been really kind of, a word that comes to mind is effortless. Like it's supposed to be happening. People are just being so present and ready to help us. I mean, Sam, how do you feel? I mean, I have so much gratitude for what's going on right now. It just feels right,
you're saying, I think, yeah. And that's the thing. I think it's definitely where it's following a purpose. Mm-hmm. And I think when it's following a purpose and you're aligned, that nothing is getting in the way and nothing's hindering. Everything is uplifting. For example, I'm taking from what you said, you took a point in spirituality came into your life and things started aligning and, and things started making sense. And that's one thing I talked to Chris about, and I said, this perhaps is your purpose, and now you're responding to it and you're listening and you're standing in it, and you're not wavering from it. You're standing in the middle of it, and you're standing in it with faith. And now things are coming to you open arms, and things are being accepted, and doors are being opened that you didn't know was open, and there's avenues that you're going, and I always say when you are starting to walk in your purpose, things just start aligning and making sense.
Well, that's when you do that. I'm so glad you brought that up, Sam, because man, I'm sitting here like kind of almost shaking right now, because it's so fascinating to me when these things start to happen. And I loved what you said, Chris, about it being effortless. And then Sam, you came in with the following your purpose. What I find the parallel that's happening, and you guys may be kind of surprised by where I go with this, is so this thing started happening for you guys. Chris, you had the feeling in your heart after the sermon and you wanted to do something, and you had the conversation with Sam. What I found so interesting is you're actually describing the coming out journey all over again. When we first start the coming out journey, the first thing we do is, wait, what is this? I'm not sure what it really is. I may be a little confused. Maybe what am I supposed to be doing with this? Then the second stage of it is, okay, there's a possibility I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to be doing something with this, but I'm not real sure. Then the third stage of our coming out journey is, okay, there's a high probability I'm gay. Well, what you're birthing right now, there's a high probability that this Faith Lift Party is supposed to be something. It's supposed to become something. And you're kind of in that space, but the next space is you're starting to accept this is a purpose. this is exactly where we're supposed to be going. The fifth stage of coming out is now we start to take pride in who we are. We take pride in what we are as a gay man, bisexual, transgender, whoever we happen to be. And then the final piece of that is full integration into life. What I'm seeing, just listening to you guys, you're kind of in that space of it's the probability and the acceptance, and some of this is happening, and you're starting to take the pride. And it's all the same journey as what we go through in our own coming out journeys to be who we are in our sexuality. Mm-hmm. So many people miss this, that once you've done the coming out journey, and this is why I'm doing the Life Uncloseted podcast in just a few weeks, is because I realized there are so many coming out journeys happening every day in every way. There are people sitting in corporate America who need to go through a coming out journey to be an entrepreneur. There's somebody sitting in a really cruddy relationship that they know they shouldn't be in. So there's going to be a coming out journey that they have to go through to get out of that relationship and into the right one. You guys just are proof positive of what's happening. You're in that space of turning this into a passion, a purpose, taking it to that place where you're fully accepting this as a path and really taking pride in it. And it sounds like it's starting to become very close to, it's going to be a fully integrated piece of your life.
I got to say, I'm actually pretty choked up hearing you say this, because, I really feel that you're speaking the gospel right now. I don't know. I'm actually really shook up because I agree with you 100%. It's pretty well. I've never even thought about it looking at it that way, but wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's amazing. And, I've had that same reaction with somebody. In fact, I just had a conversation with a young entrepreneur today, and I said, here's the thing. You're at stage one. You're really confused. You want to do this, but you're afraid of what everybody's going to say. You're afraid that people are going to go crazy. Are you going to leave this job that, you're making this good money with benefits and all this stuff, and you want to go pursue this thing? It sounds like a nice thing to do. But then he's kind of stepping into the space of, I think there's a probability that, yes, I'm going to. There's a possibility. Possibility is first. You got to play with possibility before the probability. And he's kind of between possibility and probability. He's already kind of dealt with some of the other stuff, and he's not gay. He's not a gay guy. So he hasn't done, quote unquote, the coming out journey like the rest of us. But as I got done speaking to him, I said, I got to say this. And I said, don't take it the wrong way, but welcome to your coming out journey. You're coming out to be an entrepreneur. And he just was quiet. He didn't know what to say, because it is the same journey. And the thing that I love about the journey is once you do this and once you grasp that concept, every time a challenge comes forward, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to align our values. We're going to get them back in alignment. And then we're going to start going through the journey and go, okay, I think there's this. Yes, a possibility, a probability. Okay, I'm going to accept. Now I'm going to take pride in being who I am and what I'm doing. And then suddenly, once you hit that pride place, it starts to become fully integrated into your life. I just got chills saying that. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes how that hits when you need it to hit the most. So.
Yeah. I want to say I also kind of liken it to sometimes you have to take that moment to step out in order to let faith step in.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that.
And, like you saying, with the probability and everything, and when you're going through all those motions and you're, it's like, okay, how can I do this? How can I do this? But that point when you go, you know what? I'm going to do it. And that moment you step out is where you're saying, okay, faith, this next step I take, you're about to build another piece of the sidewalk right here.
Mm-hmm.
Or something on a light. I kind of like liken it to Billie Jean when Michael Jackson was stepping on that light, when he was stepping up.
Exactly.
When he stepped on the next brick, he stepped on it in faith, because my path is going to be, lightened. It's going to be awakened. Every step I take, there is going to be a new light. I'm reaching towards that light.
I love that.
This is helping me on my path.
I love that correlation, Sam. And I'm going to throw this to Christopher first, because I know this kind of started with his journey. But Christopher, if I said to you, throw everything else aside, the struggles, the challenges, anything that may have been there, as you started to think about this, but if you could take all those and only put it in the box of why you want to do this, how much easier is it when you can say why you want to do it, to go ahead and do it?
Oh, boy.
Why do you want to do this? What is the why behind this?
Spirit is telling me to do this, and I've learned many years ago to follow that and not second guess it. So
you just answered the question.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be doing this, so I'm going to do it.
And behind that, what I heard, so I'm kind of in coach mode here for a little bit here.
Please do.
The why behind this is because I'm being called, and I've learned when I'm called to follow. I'm called and I need to follow. And that can be the only why there has to be. And so many of us then try to take, well, okay, but I'm being called, so I should follow. But why should I do that? No, there's your why. You're doing this because you know you're supposed to follow. That's the why. And when I follow, and I think what I heard behind that too was when I follow, things happen. Things happen that fill the void. When I follow, the things that come alive are that true essence of going from the darkness and into the light. I feel the fulfillment. I feel the clarity. That's why it's important to follow. In those moments when I follow, then everything becomes clear. And I think so many people fight the most obvious stuff. And I love it when I'm working with a client and say, okay, literally let's throw everything else aside. Let's come back to why you want to do this. Why do you want to come out? Why do you want to leave your job? Why do you want to go create something that serves others? Why do you want to paint that painting? Don't put the how, the when, when it's going to happen, how much money you're going to make from it. What is the why? And the moment you can focus on the why, which I think for you, Christopher, what I heard is, I'm going to go back to something you first said in the interview was, when I heard that ministry, I was fulfilled and I had clarity. That's the why. Every time I get to spin those tunes and see that party come to life, I feel fulfilled and I feel clarity. And if you can focus on that stuff, and anybody listening, when you can figure out your why, it doesn't matter the how, the when, the what it may cost. When you know why you're doing something, then you can go.
Ooh, you want to talk about goosebumps? I mean, wow.
It's amazing stuff when we step into the power of stuff like you guys are doing. So I'm curious for both of you, if you could, I'm amazed that, we're coming to the end of this already, but if you could give a piece of advice to someone who is trying to find their way, what would you say to them, Sam?
Oh my gosh. The first thing that was spoken in my spirit was the word vessel. And to know that you are definitely something or someone that is fulfilled, and to not feel like that you are empty in any sense, because what you're pouring out from your story is going to touch someone in some way that you can't even imagine. And it's not up to you to imagine. Just know that when you touch someone, it's a blessing. And that's what I would always believe is, like, I'm a vessel that someone, my one word or just my one experience I can talk about is the one thing that someone needs to take them to that next step, to help strengthen that muscle of faith, or to help them that muscle of purpose, or just to awaken a sense in order for them to move forward and also align. And I think that's what I have to say. I'm still choked up from the other things that we've been going through.
As you were talking, Sam, what came to my mind too is I think sometimes people get hung up on, okay, they know they're a vessel, but who am I the vessel for? It doesn't matter. The person you're supposed to be for, they're going to show up. I have no doubt that the people who are showing up to your events, you guys are the vessel. The vessel for those who are meant to show up, plain and simple. Just like the people who come and work with me, I'm the vessel to help them through it. But I know my target is certain people. I know that. But if I get hung up on, if I'm the vessel now, who do I have to be this vessel for? Because I need to tell everybody this is the vessel I'm for. Yes, in business, in some ways you do. But if I got hung up on that all the freaking time, I'd never get anything done. I'd be too worried about how I'm showing up. And I love that you use that word vessel, because I remember, I'm not even sure if it was Elizabeth Gilbert or somebody else that I saw a TED Talk, talked about, I know I'm just a vessel of humanity. And as long as I know that that's all I am, then everything is easy. I'm just a vessel of humanity for those I'm meant to serve. I don't have to know who they are. I'm just a vessel of humanity for those I'm meant to serve. So, Christopher, I'm going to ask you that same question. If you could leave some advice or guidance or anything for someone who is, starting this journey or doing any journey of really stepping into either their faith or coming out or whatever, what would be some advice you'd love to leave the listeners with?
I think that it sounds simple enough, and it can be simple enough, is to just to have faith. What you're going through or growing through is to have faith. I know I spent years and so much time second guessing, overanalyzing, planning, over planning, and it's ate me up so much. One thing, one of my friends told me many years ago that really struck a note, and I tell to my friends, I tell to me, and to myself 2 or 3 times a day, you plan and the Lord laughs, which I thought was pretty funny. I think you're on a purpose, have faith, things are going to work out, and just take a step back and just take a deep breath and know that, you're on a journey, you're on a trusted journey, and to really have faith with that. I know it sounds like a simple thing to say, but I think many years ago, once I really accepted that and took a step back, not only was I more joyous and more at peace, my relationships were better, my life was better, I was just more content. And I mean, I'm a lot happier person. Life's so short. Why would you not want to be happy? Exactly. I've been moved in so many great directions, and I express a lot of gratitude from just kind of like letting go and having faith.
I love that. You plan and the Lord laughs. That's like a tweetable right there. As Oprah would say, we just had our Oprah moment here on the show. So there we go. Yeah. One of my favorites is worry kills living. And every time I step into that, and it's one that I actually have it up here on my board so I can see it, because I can go to worry like in a heartbeat. But worry kills living, and then that you plan and the Lord laughs. I think that's just amazing, amazing stuff. So where can people find you guys? And I will have it up on the website, but I always like to have you guys do your own personal shout out. So Christopher, where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Well, they can follow me at DJ Logan's Run on Instagram, on Twitter, and also on SoundCloud. You can hear my mixes at soundcloud.com/DJ Logan's Run. You're welcome to follow the Facelift Party on Instagram, Twitter, and on SoundCloud.Facelift Party, and join in, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. We're always making mixes, and we're on the prowl. We're going to be on the road soon, so you'll be able to see us in the city, and feel free to, to play the music, just hang out, because actually just yesterday, one of my friends was in Fire Island, and he hasn't been to a Facelift yet. He said several times, "Oh, we're going to come," but at the pool party, he played the Facelift mix, and they went on FaceTime and was like, wow. And this is at, Fire Island pool party, and people were jamming to Facelift Party. And Sam, let me just tell you, the smile and the joy, and Rick, I mean, people were just blown away. And I mean,
our ministry of music. Music.
Oh, cool. As simple as that. So, feel free to follow us, reach out, email us, info@faceliftparty.com. We'd love to hear from everybody.
Awesome. So, and Sam, what about you? Where's a good place for people to connect with you?
Well, they can also follow me at Beargazer, which is spelled abbreviated BRGZR_. And you can follow me there. I'm working on more mixes. I love that my brother in Ministry of Music, Chris, is really, pushing me forward. Yeah. So you'll hear more from me, of course, when we're on the road and via SoundCloud. And that's where you can see me. And send us a message. Say something, saying, we are playing the mix and it made us feel really good, or something, because we want to hear that from you guys, and we want to, hear from you guys. We want to hear from everyone that we are touching out in the universe.
And that's what it is these days. It's about touching people out in the universe, even in the times that we're living in. The more we can touch each other, understand each other, and communicate the beauty of who we are as human beings, because we all are human beings having that human experience, and we all are vessels of humanity. So I just got to say thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us on the Coming Out Lounge today. So appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Rick. It was a pleasure.
Great.
Yes, such a pleasure.
All right, Closet Dwellers and Closet Busters, that's it. We're wrapping it up this week, another episode of the Coming Out Lounge. And I just want to say thank you for always being a listener. and something that would help us really get this podcast out in the world to reach more people who could probably use this kind of support, to know that they're not alone, would be if you would be willing to go out there and give us a beautiful rating and review on whatever platform that you're listening to the podcast, be it iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you are interacting with us on the Coming Out Lounge. That would be awesome. Also, if you would share it with people, send it in a link via email. Do it from your iPhone. If you're listening to podcasts on your iPhone, there's a share button right there that you can make this happen. And the reason for that is we want to get this thing out there where more and more people can listen to it. Also, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, would like to ask a particular question to be answered on the air, please give us a ring at 949-371-8559, 949-371-8559, or email me at rick@rickclemens.com, rick@rickclemens.com, and that's Clemens, Clemons. We'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you for listening. I'm Rick Clemens, the Coming Out Coach, that guy that helps you make those big, bold moves in life to go do the thing you're meant to do. Take care, everyone, and have a great week.